Steph, Darren, this is the letter that KSN received this afternoon by certified mail. Now inside it says that some of our communications with then State Senator Michael O'Donnell were intercepted by the Department of Justice in 2015. Many streets still flooded, still have high water on them. Now if I pan over here, I can show you that it's not much better in people's yards, as you can see right here. Riley Jewell continues to recover tonight at Via Christi St. Francis Hospital. Now the Stafford High grad has remained upbeat and in good spirits, although Restore Hope Inc. had hoped to raise enough money to get the chains off these gates so the community could once again gain entrance to this park. That wasn't the case. The vendors are bringing an easier voting experience. For voters, they're allowed to cast their vote via a touchscreen and run it through the counter, which counts the votes immediately. Organizers say this is a sport even the most novice skaters can learn, and are hoping this competition will help garner more local interest for the sport of speed skating. Reporting in Wichita, Chris Arnold, KSN News. Now when I sat down with him earlier this afternoon, he went step by step through what he calls one of the most scary moments in his life. The sound of the bagpipes, along with the singing of the national anthem. All a part of a ceremony to honor the Kansas firefighters who died in the line of duty. It was an emotional ceremony for Janine French. Her son Cordell was a volunteer firefighter for the Towanda Fire Rescue.
He had been on a training exercise that morning until in the afternoon. He went home, he laid down, and he died.
He died in 2004, but was one of 6 names added to the memorial.
He had such a passion for life, and so I miss him so much.
French's name, along with the other 119 fallen firefighters, were read:
Ed Bear Newton.
One by one.
William W. Wagner Chanute.
Followed by the ringing of 2 bells and the laying of a rose in a bucket.
Each name that has been engraved on this wall is a son, a brother, a husband, a father, a friend, and a hero.
Wichita Mayor Jeff Longwell and several other city and state officials addressed the more than 300 people who turned out. They all detailed the dangers each firefighter has to go through, and how those who've given their life in the line of duty should not be forgotten.
Possibility that one of these days a loved one or a friend or a co-worker could also be on this wall. That we don't take life for granted.
Snow is pressing city crews here in Wichita into action. They were out treating the roads before the snow began, and they're out plowing most of the routes now as the snow accumulates. KSN's Chris Arnold has details for us tonight.
For 23 years, Curtis Fisher has spent winters keeping our roadways safe.
This is my box that operates how much material is regulated from the feed.
And this afternoon was no different, as he and the rest of the city crews headed out to treat the roads in the wake of this year's first winter storm.
We have calcium in our material along with salt, and it helps the material, the snow, when it comes, it'll melt it, and you know, if we do get ice, it'll already be kind of halfway worked out.
Laying all that sand salt mix takes some time.
We can actually cover anywhere from 150 to 200 miles in a whole complete day.
But covering that ground won't come easy with this particular storm. Public Works Director Alan King says the roadways had salt and sand left over from their last treatment prior to the snow we had Monday into Tuesday morning. But the rain that moved in before the snow has made things a little more tricky.
This is kind of the worst conditions you can get, where you've got wet snow falling on pavement that was above freezing. The snow melts, and then that cools the pavement, turns to ice.
King says that will keep crews busy.
It takes us so much longer. It slows us down when we have to plow. Instead of getting through the streets in about 8 hours, it takes us about 3 times longer, about 24 hours.
Well, King says he expects those roads to be safe and drivable by the morning commute on Monday. The city does have a reserve of salt and sand in place in case they start getting low on the supply.
A murder-suicide yesterday now has friends and family trying to understand what led to the shooting that left 24-year-old Emily Sonneman dead. Police say she jumped off a second-story balcony at her ex-boyfriend's apartment after he pulled a gun and started shooting. Sonneman was shot to death after being chased by the suspect, who then killed himself. KSN's Chris Arnold is live tonight with our top story. Chris, what have you learned about the victim?
Good evening, Stephanie. I spoke with one of Emily Sonneman's longtime friends earlier today who described Emily as the ultimate tomboy and the classiest woman all rolled into one. And she says she actually spoke with Emily just hours before she was gunned down at this apartment complex here behind me. Jalissa Spiller says Wednesday started as a typical day, beginning with a text message from her longtime friend, Emily Sonneman. Sonneman speaking about recently breaking up with her boyfriend.
She just said that, things weren't being civil anymore between them in the breakup, and it was, she was gonna return her stuff to him that she had of his.
What Spiller didn't expect is that would be the last time she heard from one of her closest friends.
The next thing I knew, her brother's walking up the drive and he's telling me that she's not with us anymore. Never could I have imagined that it would be this. It's still hard to wrap my mind around it.
Spiller says her and Sonneman inseparable since grade school. Just the mention of her name bringing a smile to Spiller's face.
The only way you ever saw her was with a smile on her face. If she was around, she was happy, laughing, so charismatic.
Spiller describes Sonneman as being so full of life and the epitome of a true and loyal friend. She says Sonneman was a soccer player in high school and worked as a nanny for a local family. When asked what she would miss most about her,
I guess the thing I'll miss the most is her laugh, because I was a comedian if she was around.
And I also asked Spiller what kind of legacy Sonneman does leave behind, and she said that she hopes everyone remembers that Sonneman loved her family and that she would have done anything for them, and that she was always there for her friends, whether she had known them for 15 years or just 5 years. Live in Southeast Wichita, Chris Arnold, KSN News.